Metabolism, just real quick. You want to talk about kind of what that is? Because there may be, just on a high level, kind of without overcomplicating it. What is metabolism?
So essentially, it's how your body is going to convert the food that you eat into energy, in one sentence.
In the simplest terms.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with that, right?
Many steps.
And without majoring in the minors here, I think it's important. It's important for people to have the basic understanding of what you just said. Like, what does that mean? I put food in, it turns it into energy. There are multiple steps. There's multiple things that have to happen for that to operate at the best level possible. There's lots of interactions chemically, hormonally, physically that happen within the body to make that process happen. And if you listen to enough podcasts and watch enough YouTube or enough Instagram or whatever else, you're going to hear all the different things and people digging into the weeds on that. But if you just understand that your body has to take what you put in, it's in a form of energy and it has to transfer it into a different type of energy for you to utilize, that's really what we're talking about here. So that's it on a high level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you mess that up, right? How do you mess up one or more of all of those processes that it takes in order to do that thing? Right? And there's a lot, but we can boil down to kind of like the four biggest things that we see people doing on a fairly regular basis, which continues to frustrate me, not because I think people are dumb, but because the message hasn't gotten across to everybody. And so it's worth talking about, and that's why we're talking about it today. So we'll just jump right in with step number one in wrecking your metabolism. And the first thing is to eat less and do more cardio, which tends to be the default nearly, I don't know, let's put a percentage on it.
90%.
Yeah. 8 to 9 times out of 10. The first thing, let's slash calories excessively and let's go do some cardio. Let's go pound the pavement, walk outside my front door and hit the sidewalk and do a sweaty struggle run. Right.
Get hot, get sweaty, burn calories, feel uncomfortable. That equals weight loss, fat loss, looking better. Again, the outcome that we're looking for with no understanding of the basic high-level understanding of how metabolism works. And basically, when we see people getting into an exercise program and they have this goal, that is usually default. Because people inherently understand it as a calorie balance equation, right? If I want to lose weight / body fat, those are two different things, right? Because you can lose weight without losing body fat. But we're talking about, again, the higher,
that part.
That exactly, the higher level. I want to lose weight, which what they're probably really saying is I want to lose body fat. They're just not articulating it well. They understand the caloric balance equation, that if I eat less, I will lose some weight. How that happens will vary based on how you may have wrecked or set up your metabolism for success, and the rest of your body for that matter, when we talk about all the things that go into how are we creating this deficit. So eating less. It depends on where you're coming into this, because a lot of times the weight loss equation in the larger perspective means eating more, right? Yes, you have to create an imbalance, but immediately going to a caloric deficit when you might already be way below your, or just even a little bit below, or at maintenance, whatever your maintenance caloric intake is, this may not be the best idea.
It goes against conventional wisdom. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about God. So I remember when I was in college, and I was a late teen. Well, it just made sense. If I wanted to lose weight, just kind of stop eating and then go run.
Burn more calories and consume less. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's things that happen in that. Obviously, when we're talking about eating less, what are the downstream effects of eating less? Not getting the proper amount of macronutrients we need in order to just fuel ourselves through the day, our energy systems, and our basic function. But also, how does that set up your hormones to do the things that you want to do in terms of looking leaner and feeling better, and all the things that come along with it, to fuel your workouts, to fuel the things that you have to do during the day, and then more importantly, recover from all of those things, which is another very much overlooked thing. It's not in our list. We've talked about recovery a lot, but it's not included in our list.
I think at the end of the day, it just puts you running on low power mode. Like every system, it's like a ship running out of energy. It's going to start like transferring power from different parts of that system. So like I always think, even like things like people don't think about like immune function, like things like that start to run. If you're getting sick all the time, one of those factors could be that you're chronically under eating. Like things like, obviously, like we've talked about like libido and like sex hormones, stress hormones, obviously muscle mass things, all those downstream effects. And I think the pitfall for people when they fall into this is most people, when they do that thing and they're in college and they jump on that, they see some progress of weight loss pretty quickly and aggressively, like right away. So they think
and
this
you're
must
young
be
enough, and so you're not really worried about your hormones at that time.
Exactly.
And you're under sleeping anyway. So, I mean, really knowing how you feel with getting good sleep, I mean, chances are you probably don't.
Yeah, you get the short term result, and that confirms your bias going into
100%.
it. That this is how I do it. But then we hit the plateau, and most people are either completely baffled and frustrated. Well, first, what they'll try to do is try to lean heavier into what worked initially.
Yeah.
So if I lost some weight initially because I ate less and I did more cardio, well, I guess I need to eat even less and I need to do even more cardio.
And it starts that vicious cycle.
Yeah, and then we end up actually, unconsciously digging ourselves a deep hole to the point that we're plateaued out of our minds and completely frustrated, baffled. And then comes the throwing up your hands. And then because you've put yourself in this deep hole, now we see this rebound in terms of you gain back all the weight that you lost initially, primarily in the form of body fat. And now you're in an even less leveraged position to have success the next time you try the same thing that stopped working. So this made me think, just as you guys were talking, I had a client ask me this just yesterday, actually. This is a female client in her early 20s, and she has been on a deficit. We've done this, in a calculated way because we actually understand what her basal metabolic rate is. We actually understand what her maintenance calories are. So we've calculated her deficit in a specified or a specific way. But she asked me, because she's 22 and she's on social media, she's like, I see these, because I'm, she's into lifting weights and she's doing the things. I see these influencers, whatever, these ripped fitness chicks on Instagram going through their daily diets, and they're eating 2,500 calories a day. And she was like, how is that? Like, how are they like lying or something? Like, how are they eating that much and they're ripped?
It's a solid question.
And and the way I explained it was they have gotten to what I kind of call like a metabolic tipping point where things begin to snowball in the right direction. They've been consistent and most likely planned for a long enough period. They've gotten their body composition to a point where they have this high percentage of lean tissue, low percentage of fat tissue, and their metabolism is just churning. And we can get into like what that actually means, but they have gotten themselves to a point where they have all of this lean tissue and they are expending calories very readily, and they can eat that much and still lose weight. And that was, she was like, how is this even possible when I'm struggling to lose just she's making incremental progress, couple pounds at a time at, 1,650 calories. Mm-hmm. How are they eating so much more than me and they're shredded? So it got us into that conversation of kind of like what I call metabolic leverage. And that's based on body composition. So a little bit of a digression, but
I think it's great.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's a digression at all. What you're talking about is low power mode is what you brought up there, Ryan, and which is a very natural process that the body will go through. It's recognizing I'm not getting enough, so I start to down regulate all the other functions that I can down regulate and still get done what you're asking your body to do. The same is true on the metabolic leverage perspective that you just mentioned there, Stephen, that you can still lose body fat or lose weight while you're eating in, again, many more calories because your body is now adjusted. There's been an adaptation to that as well. So it works both ways. So people understand the caloric deficit equation. They don't understand the caloric surplus for a while to get to a new maintenance to then be able to go into a deficit that you can leverage it at an even greater level. So again, that's my frustration is that, a lot of times, and again, it's biased, but that you don't understand how your body works. And so I'm not beating people up that they don't understand, but I'm like, it's your fucking body. So again, if you're sitting in the car and we said, we're going through these points and your hand goes up for each one of these things, what's your deeper level of understanding of things? So we're trying to keep this high level, but you guys just went through a really good explanation. Just think, I go into low power mode. Is that where I want to be, right? At what point would you want to be in low power mode in your life? Well, if you're shipwrecked on an island,
Yeah, I was going to say starving.
Yeah.
and you're starving to death, and there's lack of food and resource, then low power mode's a really cool thing.
Keeps you alive.
It's a survival mechanism.